sociology are closely related social sciences that study human societies, cultures, and behaviors. Despite their similarities, they have different focuses and methodologies. Both sociology and anthropology emerged from the 19th century intellectual. Sociology often focuses on contemporary, industrialized, or modern societies, while anthropology traditionally focus on non-industrialized, indigenous, and ancient societies. Culture. Both disciplines emphasize the importance of culture. Anthropology places culture at the human existence, exploring how cultures shape human behavior and vice versa. Sociology also examines culture but often focuses on how it interacts with other social institutions like the economy, politics, and family. Social institutions both study institutions like family, religion, politics, and education. Though they may approach these topics differently, sociology typically examines these institutions in modern settings, while anthropology might focus on these institutions in more traditional or cross-cultural contexts. Sociology is concerned with understanding the structure of societies, social relationships, and institutions. It examines phenomena like social stratification, inequality, power, deviance, and social change in modern and post-industrial contexts. Anthropology Anthropology traditionally covers a broader scope, including human evaluation. Then archaeology and linguistics. Cultural anthropology specifically examines the ways of life, customs, and social practices of different groups, often emphasizing non-Western or traditional societies. Methodology. Sociologists often rely on quantitative methods such as surveys, statistical analysis, and large scale, data. For example, now in a bank branch, how much customers are satisfied. If you go and give them the rating sheet and some questionnaire, so they will mark in that questionnaire and rating sheet, and then say you ask from 20 people, you do a sort of primary research, then you can conclude to study trends and patterns in society. So sociologists often rely on quantitative methods such as surveys, statistical analysis, and large scale data to study trends and patterns in societies. Qualitative methods like interviews and observations are also used, but the focus tends to be more on present day phenomena. Anthropologists, especially cultural anthropologists, are known for their ethnographic research, which involves long-term field work and participant observation. This method allows for a deep, immersive understanding of a particular society or culture, often over extended periods. Some areas of sociology and anthropology overlap and can be difficult to distinguish, such as urban anthropology and urban sociology. Both study, you see, urban life. Now, you see, there is lot of development, you see, in urban centers in our country: metropolitan, urban, semi-urban, and rural. So urban is taking the, you see, shape of big cities. Both study urban life, you see, focusing on how people adopt to and experience, you see, urban environments. Although anthropology may delve into more cross cultural comparisons, subfields that overlap. Socio-cultural anthropology and cultural sociology both study cultural phenomena like symbols, rituals, values, and beliefs. Anthropologists may focus more on the holistic understanding of particular cultures, while sociologists may investigate how these cultural phenomena relate to larger societal, you see, structures. Medical sociology and medical anthropology both study health and illness, but medical anthropology may focus more on cultural understandings of disease and healing practices, while medical sociology might emphasize, you see, healthcare institutions and policies. Sociology and anthropology frequently borrow from one another. Anthropologists have adopted sociological concepts such as social structure and stratification to explain cultural phenomena. Sociologists have drawn on anthropological, you see, insights to understand how social institutions and practices are culturally specific and how global cultural processes influence societies. Globalization and modern trends in contemporary academic settings, the boundaries between sociology and anthropology are increasingly, you see, blurred. Globalization, migration, digital communication, and cultural exchange have led both disciplines to converge on similar topics such as transnationalism, identity, inequality, and social networks. Next point is applied fields. Both disciplines have applied branches. Applied sociology involves using sociological theory and methods to solve real world problems, often in areas like public policy, education, and criminal justice. Applied anthropology uses anthropological research to address practical issues, particularly in development, public health, and international organizations. Sociology and anthropology are complementary disciplines that share a focus on understanding human societies, though they differ in their methods, focus, and scope. Sociology is more inclined to study contemporary industrialized societies through quantitative methods, while anthropology, especially in its cultural branch, emphasizes traditional societies and employs ethnographic methods. However, both disciplines, both subjects enrich one another, you see, and provide valuable insights into the complexities of human social life. Now, next is the relationship of sociology with psychology. Definitions: sociology, the scientific study of society, social relationships, social interactions, and the structures within which individuals and groups operate. It seeks to understand how societal factors like culture, institutions, and class shape people's behavior, norms, and values. And in psychology, the scientific study of the mind, you see, and behavior, focusing on individual mental processes, emotions, cognitive functions, and personality. Psychologists explore, you see, how internal factors like perception, memory, and emotions, you see, influence, you see, behavior. See, psychologists in our country also, if suppose, you see, somebody is going through depression, anxiety. So, in allopathic, it is psychiatrist. That is, he is, you see, MBBS, then MD. And then you see people with post graduation in psychology, they also, you see, give the treatment. Sometimes their treatment is better because they will not be giving medicines, they will be only explaining. Now, sociology, focus of study. Sociology focuses on groups, societies, and institutions. Sociologists investigate patterns of behavior in communities, in institutions like, you see, schools, religious organizations, and societies, seeking to understand how social forces, that is culture, economy, politics, influence, you see, people's choices and actions. In psychology, you see, psychology focuses on the individual. Psychologists are interested in understanding how individuals think, how individuals feel, and how individuals behave in certain ways based on internal mechanisms like brain function, emotional states, and cognitive development. Key theories and concepts. Sociology includes theories like Marxism, focusing on class conflict, functionalism, society as a system of interconnected parts, and symbolic interactionism, examining how people give, you see, meaning to symbols and social interactions. Psychology, and psychology encompasses theories such as psychoanalysis, Freud's exploration of unconscious, you see, drives, behaviorism, Skinner's study of learning through reinforcement, and cognitive psychology, understanding thought processes like memory and, you see, problem solving. Next is methodologies. You see, in psychology, psychology uses methods such as surveys, ethnographies, caste studies, and statistical analysis to study larger social patterns. For example, sociologists might study the effects of education or income inequality on a population. Psychology Psychology employs experimental methods, clinical studies, case studies, and psychological tests to explore individual behavior. For example, a psychologist might conduct an experiment to study how stress affects memory, or conduct therapy to help a person, you see, with anxiety, just to, you see, bring him out of, you see, anxiety. Areas of overlap, while their focus differs, the sociology and psychology overlap in several key areas. Social psychology, a subfield that bridges both disciplines, focusing on how individuals' behavior and thoughts are influenced by social contexts. It looks at topics like group dynamics, social perception, and conformity. Behavior in social contexts. Both disciplines explore behavior within social contexts. Sociologists might study how societal norms shape individual behavior, while psychologists may explore how peer pressure or group influence affects decision making. Mental health. Sociology explores how societal factors like poverty, inequality, and social stressors impact mental health, while psychology looks at the internal processes, that is brain function, cognition, that lead to, you see, mental health issues. Now, macro versus micro approach. Sociology tends to focus on the macro level, examining large scale of societal, you see, trends, institutions, and social structures. Psychology focuses on the micro level, exploring individual behavior, cognitive functions, and mental processes. For instance, example, sociologists might study how changes in the economy, that is unemployment rates, affect mental health on a societal, you see, scale, while psychologists might study how job loss impacts an individual's stress levels and coping, you see, mechanisms. Influence of social structures on individual behavior. Sociology explains how social structures like class, race, gender shape individual behavior. For instance, sociologists might study how educational attainment or socio-economic status affects life choices such as career, you see, opportunities. Psychology examines the individual mechanisms that explain why people make certain choices, such as personal goals, motivations, or cognitive, you see, biases. Applications in real life, application of sociology in real life helps in understanding broader societal issues like crime, poverty, education, and health, you see, inequality. Sociologists may contribute to public policy, urban planning, or education reform by studying the impact of, you see, social factors. Psychology is applied in areas like therapy, counseling, education, and healthcare. Psychologists help individual manage mental health problems, improve learning techniques, or understand cognitive, you see, disorders. In many cases, research requires insights from both sociology and psychology. For example, criminal behavior, you see. A sociologist might examine how societal factors like poverty or peer influence contribute to crime, while a psychologist might study the individual traits or mental health issues that increase, criminal behavior. Education, a sociologist could study how system and class backgrounds affect educational outcomes, while psychologists might investigate how individual learning styles or cognitive abilities impact student performance. Now, the conclusion is the relationship between sociology and psychology is deeply intertwined, with sociology focusing on the external social forces shaping behavior, and psychology focusing on the internal cognitive and emotional mechanisms. Together, they provide a comprehensive understanding of human behavior in both individual and collective contexts. Now, next is relationship of sociology with history. Now, in the introduction, the relationship between sociology and history is both deep and intricate, as both disciplines share a common interest in understanding human societies, their development, and their structures. However, they approach these tasks from different angles. Now, sociology's focus. Nature of sociology. Sociology is the study of human society. It is the study of human society, its institutions, and social relationships. It primarily focuses on understanding the structure, behavior, and interactions within societies. Study of social processes. Sociologists are interested in patterns and processes in the present. They investigate phenomena such as social inequality, deviance, race relations, family dynamics, and the influence of culture on individuals. Empirical approach. Sociology often relies on data collection methods such as surveys, interviews, and statistical analysis to analyze contemporary social issues. History's focus. Nature of history. History is the study of past events, with a primary focus on how these events have shaped human civilizations. Historians are concerned with the evolution of political systems, wars, economic changes, cultural development, and important figures. Chronological understanding. Historians focus on sequences of events, causes, and effects, and the significance of specific occurrences. They are interested in understanding why things happen at certain points in time. Narrative approach. History is often presented as a narrative drawing on primary sources like documents, records, and eyewitness accounts to reconstruct the post. Common ground. Both sociology and history are interested in understanding human actions, culture, and institutions. Sociologists often draw on historical events to explain current social structures, and historians use sociological theories to explain patterns of behavior and past societies. Social change. Sociology and history are deeply concerned with the forces of social change. Historical events like the Industrial Revolution, wars, colonization, and social movements, for example, civil rights movements, are critical to understanding modern social dynamics. Interdisciplinary collaboration. Sociologists and historians often collaborate to provide more complete insights For example, sociologists studying modern institutions like education or the family may turn to historical records to understand how these institutions evolved. Time focus. Sociology is more focused on the present and immediate past, investigating how current social systems function. History deals with primarily with the distant past, attempting to understand the context and meaning of events that occurred over long periods. Methodological, you see, differences. Sociologists often use quantitative methods, you see, that is statistics, surveys, alongside qualitative methods. They use, you see, quantitative methods alongside qualitative methods to analyze societal, you see, patterns. Historians typically rely on qualitative methods such as, you see, archival research and interpretation of historical documents, though quantitative history using data like census records has grown in importance. Theoretical versus narrative, you see, focus. Sociology places more emphasis on theoretical frameworks and generalized patterns such as social stratification, roles, and power structures. History places more emphasis on detailed narratives and specific events like revolutions or the rise and fall of empires. Examples of interconnected studies. Sociology of revolutions. Sociologists studying revolutions may look at historical cases like the French or Russian Revolution to understand the social conditions that lead to such upheavals. Historical sociology. This branch of sociology explicitly merges the two disciplines by examining how societal structures have changed over time, often using history to explain contemporary, you see, social phenomena. For instance, how colonialism has affected modern day global inequality, class and power. Historical sociologists might examine how the feudal class structures in medieval, you see, Europe influenced the development of capitalist economies, which in turn affects modern day class dynamics. Conclusion, mutual reinforcement. While sociology and history have distinct approaches and focuses, they are highly complementary to each other. History provides the chronological and contextual foundation for sociological analysis, while sociology provides the theories and methods for understanding the underlying, you see, patterns of human behavior and history and human behavior that history reveals. Together, they help to create a more complete understanding of human societies, both past and present. Next is relationship of sociology with economics. Sociology and economics are two distinct but interconnected social sciences that study different aspects of human society. However, their overlap is significant as both examine how human behavior is shaped by societal structures, institutions, and material conditions. Focus of study, sociology, the study of society, social relationships, institutions, and culture. It aims to understand how human behavior is influenced by social structures like families, organizations, communities, and the broader social systems. Economics, the study of how individuals, businesses, and governments allocate resources to satisfy their needs and desires. It deals with concepts like production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services, and how you see markets function. Commonalities, you see human behavior. Both disciplines study human behavior, while economics often views individuals as rational actors making decisions to maximize utility or profits. Sociology considers how social norms, values, and group dynamics influence decision making. Institutions both examine institutions such as markets, governments, and educational systems, but from different angles. Economics might focus on market efficiency or economic policies, while sociology looks at the social impact of these institutions, including inequality, power dynamics, and social mobility. Social class and stratification. Both sociology and economics analyze social class. Economics study income distribution, wealth, and poverty, often using quantitative data. Sociologists delve deeper into the qualitative aspects like how social class affects life chances, access to resources, and power within society. Key areas of intersection: economic systems and social structures. Sociologists study how economic systems, capitalism, socialism, etc., shape social hierarchies and influence power dynamics. For example, capitalism encourages competition and private ownership, which sociologists argue can lead to inequality. Social inequality and economic, you see, disparity. Both fields are deeply concerned with inequality. Economists may focus on income inequality and the economic factors behind it, such as wages gaps and unemployment. Sociologists explore how race, gender, ethnicity, and class intersect with economic disparities and how social policies affect economic inequality. Again, key areas of intersection are, you see, work and labor markets. Sociology examines how labor is organized, including issues of, you see, worker exploitation, job satisfaction, and social identity in the workplace. Economics might focus on labor market trends, wage determination, and the impact of supply and demand on employment, consumption patterns. Economics study consumer behavior using models of supply, demand, and price mechanisms. Sociologists, on the other hand, look at how consumption patterns are influenced by social identities, status, cultural values, and advertising. Again, key areas of intersection: globalization. Both disciplines, you see, study globalization, but with different focuses. Economists might analyze trade policies, capital flows, and international markets. Sociologists examine the social consequences of globalization, such as migration, cultural homogenization, and the impact on local, you see, communities. Difference in methodology. Economics primarily uses quantitative methods, including mathematical models, statistical analysis, and empirical data to predict and understand economic trends. Sociology, while it also employs quantitative methods, sociology makes greater use of qualitative methods such as interviews, ethnographies, and case studies to explore the social processes that underlie economic behavior. Now, examples of interdisciplinary approaches: economics, sociology. This subfield blends sociology and economics, focusing on how you see social networks, relationships, and culture influence economic activities. For example, it you see explores how trust and social capital affect economic exchanges. Next is development studies. Scholars in this field, drawing from both sociology and economics, investigate how economic development is influenced by social factors like education, health, and political stability. Behavioral economics, this field influenced by sociology and psychology, challenges the traditional economic assumption of rational decision making. It examines how social norms, emotions, and cognitive biases affect economic choices. Influence of economic policies on society. Economic policies such as taxation, you see, welfare programs, and labor laws directly impact, you see, social structures. Sociologists study how these policies affect various social groups differently, while economics focus on their efficiency, growth, impact, and long-term economic plays a central role in sociology and influences economic behavior. Sociologists look at how cultural values like individualism or collectivism shape economic systems and practices. For instance, how a society's cultural attitudes toward work and consumption can affect its economic development. Historical context. Karl Marx, you see, perhaps the most famous thinker whose work spans both disciplines. Marx, critic of capitalism, explored both the economic mechanisms of class exploitation and the social impacts on workers, their alienation and development of class consciousness. Max Weber, another key figure who contributed to both fields in the Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism. Weber linked economic development to cultural values, showing how religious beliefs could shape economic behavior. While sociology and economics have distinct areas of focus and methodologies, they are closely related. Sociology provides insight into the social context and consequences of, you see, economic systems, while economics offer, you see, tools to understand the material aspects of societal, you see, structures. Together, they create a more comprehensive understanding of how human societies function, particularly in areas like inequality, labor markets, and globalization. Their intersection becomes, you see, crucial for addressing contemporary global issues such as poverty, you see, inequality, climate change, and social justice, which require both social and economic perspectives to craft holistic solutions. Now, relationship of sociology with the political science. The relationship of sociology and political sciences, you see, clearly intertwined as both disciplines examine human society, social behavior, and structures that govern social life. However, they focus on different aspects of society, creating a complementary relationship between the two. Political science studies political systems, governments, power, and political, behavior. It seeks to understand how power is distributed and exercised in various political systems. A political scientist, might analyze the impact of electoral systems on voter, turnout, or the relationship between government policies and economic growth. Sociology. Sociology is the study of society, social relationships, and social institutions. It looks at how individuals and groups interact within a social structure, how societal norms develop, and how social change occurs. Sociologists are interested in issues such as class, race, gender, male, female, family structures, religion, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, and more. Political science, on the other hand, focuses on political systems, governance, and the distribution of power and resources. Political scientists analyze political institutions such as governments, political parties, and international organizations. Political behavior such as voting, activism, and leadership, and policies that govern a society. Both sociology and political science intersect in areas where society and politics overlap. This includes power and authority. Both disciplines study the concept of power, though from different perspectives. Sociologists explore power dynamics in everyday social interactions and institutions, while political scientists focus on political authority and governance structures. Social stratification and class. Political science studies how different social classes influence or are affected by political systems, while sociology examines how class systems emerge and impact people's lives, including their political behaviors and attitudes. Social change and movements. Sociology examines the causes and consequences of social movements and social change, that is civil rights, feminist movements, while political science analyzes how these movements influence political change, policy making, and political institutions. Sociology, methodological approaches. Sociologists use both qualitative and quantitative research methods to study society. They might conduct surveys, interviews, ethnographic research, and statistical analysis to understand patterns of social behavior and institutions. Political scientists often focus on the study of political institutions through case studies, historical analysis, and quantitative data. They also rely on qualitative methods such as interviews and content analysis, but often have a greater emphasis on policy analysis and the behavior of political actors. Social and political institutions. Sociological view. Sociology examines social institutions such as the family, education, and religion, and how they influence or are influenced by society. It also studies political institutions as part of the broader social structure, emphasizing the social context in which political systems operate. Political science view. Political science focuses specifically on the functioning of political institutions such as legislatures, executives, and judiciaries, and their role in maintaining social order and managing conflicts within society. Political scientists are more concerned with the formal mechanisms of governance. Political sociology, this subfield of sociology directly bridges sociology and political science. It focuses on how societal factors like class, race, gender, and ideology shape political processes and outcomes. Political sociology looks at voting patterns, political participation, and the role of social movements in shaping political agendas. Comparative politics, in political science, comparative politics often draws from sociological insights to understand how different social structures and cultural contexts influence political systems and governance. You see models across the world. Influence on public policy. Sociology, sociologists study the effects of public policies on different social groups, looking at inequality, education, healthcare, and welfare. They provide insights into how policies impact societal well-being and how social change can be implemented. Political scientists examine how public policies are formulated and implemented by governments and political actors. They focus on the political process, decision making, and how policies are shaped by political ideologies, interests, and institutions. Sociology and political science are closely related disciplines that both deal with the organization of society, though from different angles. Sociology provides a broader understanding of social life and institutions, while political science focuses more narrowly on political systems and governance. Together, they offer a comprehensive understanding of how human societies function, how power is distributed, and how both societal and political changes are interconnected. So we have, you see, studied relationship of sociology with anthropology, then with political science, then with economics, then with psychology, then with history. Now we will study with geography. Geography studies the Earth's landscapes, environments, and how human activities are distributed spatically. Now, human geography looks at the spatial you see, aspects of human behavior and social structures, including urbanization, migration, and population studies. Both sociology and geography examine the interaction between humans and their environment. Geography focuses on physical space and location, while sociology is more focused on the social relationships and institutions within those spaces. Now we will study sociology and law. Legal studies focus on rule of law, legal institutions, and their role in society. Sociology of law examines how legal system interact with other social institutions like the family, economy, and politics. It looks at how laws are, you see, shaped by societal values and how legal systems impact social behavior. Law studies are more concerned with legal frameworks and specific laws, while sociology explores the social impact and consequences of these legal frameworks. Sociology and education. Education studies, you see, focus on teaching, learning, and the institutional framework of education. The sociology of education examines how educational systems contribute to socialization, inequality, and societal development. It explores how factors like class, race, and gender influence educational outcomes. While education studies may focus more on, pedagogical techniques and curriculum development, sociology explores the broader societal, context in which education operates. Sociology is, interconnected with various social sciences, and each discipline enriches the others by offering different perspectives on human behavior and society. While sociology tends to focus more on social structures, institutions, and collective behaviors. It shares common ground with anthropology, psychology, economics, political science, history, geography, law, and education. The interdisciplinary approach helps deepen the understanding of how societal functions and evolves. Now, next is sociology is the study of society, social relationships, and institutions. It examines how social structures and cultures influence individual behavior and how societies change over time. A sociologist might study how social media affects, teenage behavior or how different communities respond to crime. Political science explores, systems of governance, political activities, thoughts, and behaviors. It seeks to understand how power is distributed and exercised in various political systems. A political scientist might analyze the impact of electoral systems on voter turnout or the relationship between government politics, policies, and economic growth. Psychology focuses on understanding human behavior and mental processes. It studies, cognition, emotion, personality, and social interactions. A psychologist might examine how stress affects work performance or how childhood, experiences shape personality development. Economics is the study of how individuals, businesses, and governments allocate resources to meet needs and wants. It involves understanding the production, distribution, and consumption of, goods and services. An economist might study how inflation affects purchasing power or the impact of trade tariffs on international markets. History involves the study of past events, people, and societies. Historians analyze how past developments shape present day societies and cultures. A historian might research the causes and consequences of World War II or how the Industrial Revolution transformed European societies. Anthropology studies human societies, cultures, and their developments. It is divided into various branches, including cultural anthropology, focused on cultures, and physical anthropology, focused on human, evolution. An anthropologist might study the rituals and social structures of an indigenous tribe or how human physical features have evolved over time. Each of these fields help to explain different aspects of human society, behavior, and history from their unique perspectives. Sociology is the systematic study of society, social institutions, and social relationships. It examines, how humans interact with one another within different societal contexts and how these interactions shape both individual behavior and larger societal structures. Sociology as a discipline shares a close relationship with other social sciences because it overlaps in its examination of human behavior and society. Now, sociology and anthropology. Anthropology studies human, cultures, both past and present, with an emphasis on development and behaviors of societies over time. Anthropology focuses on cultural aspects, while sociology examines social institutions and structures. Cultural anthropology, in particular, shares many research methods and topics, such as religion, social norms, with sociology. Anthropology often involves, more long-term field work, studying small isolated societies, whereas sociology tends to focus on more complex modern societies. Sociology and political science studies political systems, governments, power, and political behavior. Sociology is interested in power dynamics and the role of politics within society, exploring topics like authority, governance, and social movements. Both disciplines examine how political structures impact social order, while political science focuses specifically on political institutions and processes. Sociology examines politics as one of many social institutions, looking at the broader social implications of political systems. Sociology and economics. Economics studies the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services, focusing on economic systems and behavior. Sociology looks at the social aspects of economic behavior, like how economic conditions influence social structures, relationships, and class systems. Economic sociology specifically explores topics like labor markets, poverty, and wealth inequality. Economics is more quantitative and focuses on market principles, while sociology focuses more on how economic systems affect social behavior and social institutions. Sociology and psychology. Psychology focuses on individual behavior, cognition, and emotions. Sociology shares interest in understanding human behavior, but at the group level rather than the individual. Social psychology, a subfield, explores how societal factors influence individual behavior, such as peer pressure, social norms, and group dynamics. Psychology often looks at the individual's internal processes, cognitive, emotional, biological, while sociology is more focused on external social forces shaping behavior. Sociology and history. History is the study of past events and human societies. Sociology and geography. Geography studies the Earth's landscape environments and how human activities are distributed equally. Sociology and law. Legal studies focuses on rule of law, legal institutions, and their role in society. Next is sociology and education. Education studies focus on teaching, learning, and institutional framework of education. So students, thank you very much. We are concluding the session. So we have seen relationship of sociology with other social sciences. Thank you very much, students.